This is me. Just kidding. This is me.
My name is Amanda, and welcome to my podcast where I will be talking about pop culture, music, film, drama, and fan videos.
Hello and welcome back to my channel, Always Popular. I'm Amanda, your host, and today we're doing something a little bit different on my channel. For this week's episode, instead of the usual pop culture stuff I do, this week I did my first interview with my old classmate who I went to college with. Normally, if you have seen any previous content on my channel, you know you only hear my voice. Instead, you will actually see my face. Dante is a hip hop artist and is releasing his new EP album, so I got an opportunity to interview him. So this is our interview. This is actually a very special. You are officially like the very first person to be on my podcast, so
Really? Well,
congratulations.
I feel very happy about that. It's been since Leighton.
Yeah, but pretty much. So
Yeah. You still work there?
still work where?
At the college at Ramapo.
No, actually, I don't work at Rampo. It's actually kind of interesting. I was actually looking into some jobs actually there, but then I was thinking, you know what? I kind of want to branch out and like kind of like do some other stuff. So, and then I'm kind of like so I can like all my choices and stuff like that and career goals.
Yeah. How has this podcast been going so far?
This is actually doing a lot better actually than I thought. So, and it's actually a lot of fun. I definitely got to a lot of brand new things, especially in like video editing and also in podcasting in general. Also, and actually my self-esteem, which is kind of interesting because I was always camera shy and I never
taken. Yeah, you never talked much in class. Very shy.
Yep, and that's general.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see this side of you.
Well, thanks. Well, today is really all about you. I actually have some questions actually prepared for you. So
awesome.
First question for you is, how did you get your start in music?
I really feel like music just came from the inspiration of hip hop. So like when I was younger, everybody has their story, and my story led me to hip hop. Luckily, my mother into it, so like I would be in the car with her, and she would just, she had satellite radio, so she like put on 8045 and she used to put on like the old school hip hop stuff. So I would listen to all these artists. Like I would listen to like EPMD, Master Ace, Tupac, Biggie, what you call it. And I'm trying to think. I don't know why I'm shot right now for artists. Naughty by Nature, Funkmaster Flex putting like mixtapes and stuff out. Like there was just so much stuff flying. Nas, anything really that had to do with hip hop, my mom was listening to. Cool J, but like just it took hear that stuff, and I related to a lot of the things that they were saying, because even though I was young, like it's not like I was like blind, like orally, like I can hear them and I can hear what they were saying, and like I could just kind of relate. And I was that type of kid that would just sit in the back of the car and just absorb it all. So then it got to the point where I was like 12 or 13 and I was really into poetry. I have no idea. I guess just to express like my feelings and stuff. And then I met with my one friend and he was like, "Oh, we should start a rap group." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Let's do it." And I think at that time, me and him were really into like Drake and Lil Wayne or some shit like that. But like into old school hip hop, my flow, cadence, and everything was just so different than Drake and Lil Wayne. And like you could hear my friend was trying so hard to sound like them, but like I don't even want to go into it. I don't want to say anything stupid, but it was just like it was funny. It was a mess, but it was my first thing. Like I remember we had our flat screens. We would put the instrumental volume like really high and just rap over it. It was just not really like even mixed. It was just us just being kids, and like that's literally how I started. And I guess like I just really liked how I felt after I put something out and heard myself on it, even though it sounded like garbage today. Like it was just how it came out. So like now I'm just kind of like, man, I gotta keep going with this. And then like, over a couple of years, I just went to college for it and learned certain things there. I was always more of the artist. I did more of the artist. Producing was never really my thing, but I could produce. It's just I prefer to like focus on my lyrical ability and being an artist. So.
That's actually really good for you, because probably one thing I lack is probably like actually making my own music. I still kind of struggle actually.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Especially like a certain class that I took, especially like at ramp, it was kind of like difficult for me, but I definitely
Not
don't
easy, yeah.
want to
But you
get
made it
into
through,
that.
you made it through. I think the hardest thing at Ramapo, I have to go back. I still have a couple, credits left, but the hardest thing I've been having to pass is music theory. Oh my god, music theory 1 is hard, and that professor just doesn't help.
Oh boy, I wonder which teacher you're talking about, but we don't have
I'm
to talk.
talking about the old guy with, like, the gray hair coming back, and I think he had glasses, I don't remember, but
Oh,
it wasn't.
that teacher. No, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, no, not the younger guy. The younger guy was cool. Little weird, but he was cool. He made it fun. So
Because honestly, like when it comes to music classes, I feel like it really all depends on kind of certain teachers like did well with, and then only one that like I didn't do well.
yeah. Well, you'll have a teacher that expects you to know it all already from the get go, and then you'll have a teacher that will try to implement certain strategies to get you to understand what he's talking about, and that's the kind of person that one guy was, which is why I like.
True. Also, like with like your musical goals and stuff like that. So was music like always something that you wanted to actually do like in like your life?
Necessarily. I mean, I always did it as a hobby. I got hurt. I wanted to play football. Football was like football had my heart. And I think that's because, like, growing up how I grew up and stuff, like, I had a lot of positive male role models on the football fields that were like my coaches and stuff. And that really gave me like some kind of comfort. And then when I got older, I just, I got hurt in high school. So I had to get surgery like on both my shoulders and threw my football career away. Weird because like I obviously I started late. So like I started music and I really got into music at like 13, 14. I mean, I was doing music when I was a kid. Like I was in chorus and stuff like that, but it wasn't the music I wanted to do. It was like 13 and 14 when I started doing the stuff that sat well with me. And then it took about over the couple of years of me between me playing football and me doing music, I guess with the injuries and everything, music started to creep up on me and just gain my attraction more. It took to when I was like 17 or 16, and my mom's friend found out I really liked doing music, and she just gave me like a USB microphone, and it was a Disney microphone for like a Disney game, but record with it. So I was like, screw it, I'll take it. Like, definitely not the best quality. I didn't know though at the time because I didn't go to school, but I started recording with that, and then I made a couple of tracks I had on SoundCloud, and I became the SoundCloud rapper when I was like 16, 17. It was about the same time Fetty Wap was like, you know, making his debut. And then after that, I just like everything went forward after that and just kept going.
Yeah, that actually kind of makes me think of actually like kind of like my career actually like in like sports too, because I actually played field hockey for a long time, and then that's a big long story, but like you don't have to hear about it, but it's like
Yeah.
I stopped playing like hockey, so and then like I focus on music, so I find it kind of interesting. We kind of like similar like sports paths, so
Yeah.
that's kind of cool that you were into football and stuff like that.
Yeah, it actually makes me think. It's like a lot of people I feel that were in sport. It really depends on the reason you were in sports. Because like I feel like a lot of people go to sports. Some people go to it just for the game itself, but to some people I feel like it's more than a game. I feel like some people it's like they're battling something internally. And then if you get hurt, like you got to find another outlet to battle that internally.
I guess I kind of, sort of, like agree with that. You need like an outlet to get, I guess, all your emotions and stuff like that out, or to express yourself in some way
Right.
that you like. So I guess that all kind of like makes sense. Now, this is actually one question that I've been waiting to ask you for like kind of like a long time actually. So like I know that you have like kind of like a stage name, and like a lot of artists, go by like a different name. I wanted to ask you, how do you pronounce your stage name? Because
Gini-MOB.
Gini-MOB, because I knew that if I even mentioned it, I knew I was going to.
Everyone says Genie. It's like I know it's annoying. It's Gini-MOB though.
Okay, definitely gonna have to write that down, because
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it because like I knew I would have sounded like an idiot.
Yeah. No, to make it like I feel like you really got to be Italian or have some kind of awareness on Italian culture. Actually, it's Italian Heritage Month right now, but I feel like you have to kind of have some awareness on Italian culture to understand that word. So when the minute you see Guinea, it's like, oh, like if you, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because I definitely didn't want to like start off like the interview with like saying your stage saying like your stage name and then
yeah,
and then like saying it wrong and I'm like yeah that's not
right, yeah, no,
that would have been embarrassing. So
yeah, no, it's cool. It happens.
well that's why I had to ask you about it. So now I know that you're coming out with actually brand new music soon. So I wanted to ask you what was your main inspiration and or like maybe like behind your album.
Well, so I mean, this piece of work is something I've been meeting after my first album that I released, and it just was like it's a really long process because like this is an EP I'm putting out right now, which is like a preview of like what the album is going to be. So it's only going to be like 4 or 5 songs, but it's new material. There's a cover for it. It's basically just like it's called My Inferno. So it's basically about my hell. So like when I have to scoop myself to that level of talking about my innermost personal feeling, it can be really hard sometimes because like I just have to really be in that mood. And like something has to happen to like put me into okay, I could write about this. Like it's really hard for me, like, because like I mean, a lot of people don't know who I am outside of like my artist, but like just being that person, like I've always tried to be happy. I always try to be positive and productive and, laugh and start jokes and stuff everywhere. Like I always try to be that, happy person and, always caregiving. And I really never try to be that mope around, depressed about whatever and like, talk about my problems type of person. And even if I do talk about my problems, it's just like whatever, like I'm not showing pain. So like for me actually having to show pain in these songs is like I feel like it's like the hardest thing, but at the same time, once it comes out, it's like it's the most relatable thing. So like people heard certain parts and like certain gists of my first album where it's like a little bit about me, but it wasn't about like what really gets like everything like this is the EP called My Inferno. It's basically the start of a big project I'm working on.
It sounds pretty cool to
Over
me.
time. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, like an EP or even like a full length album, it's going to put out anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the full length album is gonna take some time because I wanna do a lot for it because the thing is this is a very competitive storyline. So, like, yeah, this is my Inferno. I know my name's Dante, but I'm not Dante from the freaking 1400s. I mean, he's long gone. But that piece of artwork that the original Dante did during the Renaissance period was probably one of the most memorable and praised pieces of literature and even till today that there's colleges that talk about it, how the articulate perspective, and how it was. And, and he was one of the first writers to actually break that Latin that Latin tongue and like just add that Italian twist to it. That stuff became very popular in the West at the time. Like he didn't even need a computer to have so many people praise that book, but like it's amazing. And the artwork that came behind it too was just, outstanding. So like for the album, I'm definitely going to have a lot more, not only a lot more music, but I want to do like a little booklet packet with a lot of cool art from people like that's donating art to the Inferno and stuff. And I want to have that included. Like if I were to make like a CD, like have all those pictures included there. That's in the future though. That's a lot of planning. I have to do a photo shoot. I'll do some. I'm gonna mix it up too. Like I'm not just gonna have paintings. Like I'm gonna have like a little bit of graphic design photos of like stuff with me and make it very descriptive.
it definitely sounds like it for sure. Planning and then pre-planning and
Hmm.
yeah, that's gonna take a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It's always like a big pro like even like for even like a podcast or even releasing music, people don't realize how long it actually takes to actually make, and they
Right.
expect like a lot of artists to release music a lot sooner, but it's like
Yeah, big process, especially when you care about your work. Like, I mean, you could honestly be that one. Like, for example, today you got a lot of people that just don't give a shit about what they're saying, and they'll just walk into the studio. They'll just, start smoking with the people, and like, or they'll puff a blunt, whatever. And then they're like, all right, let's start recording. Like, and then they just say whatever. A lot of it don't rhyme. And then all the struggle goes to the producer to make it work, or the engineer to be, okay, this word from this sentence rhymes with this word from like the fifth sentence. Let's try to make magic with this. And that dude don't even remember what he said on the mic because he was so stoned. And then it's just like, oh, here we go. But if you care about your work, you're gonna have a successful. At the end of the day, like, even if I had 5 people that were real people that actually heard what I said, I would take that over somebody's million, because that million, that's not real. That these people that are recording those music, or that music, and it's not to the heart and everything. It's just the temporary vibe. It's just to get through a certain time. That person's going to be forgotten. But think about all the artists like that made music from the heart, all the artists that did things. That stuff is still going on today. There's people 20, 30, 40 years from now, even further, like, that still listen to classical music, that still listen to, old school hip hop, or even R&B in the 80s and certain things like that. That stuff was coming from people who were in it because they actually loved it. It wasn't a finance thing at the time. It wasn't, I'm coming in this to make a quick buck. It was, no, I love music and I'm here to make it. And that stuff's going to live forever.
True. And sorry, like, like if you can hear any barking in the background, that that would be my puppy. So sorry about that.
What kind of dog?
She is she's a mutt, so she's like a mixture of like everything. So she's like,
they're the best.
Yeah, and loud too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that is very true. There's still a lot of music like from like the 90s, like in early 2000s, and it all depends on like the artist. And but I mean, like if I can tell that it's like kind of like that's like some of the best music that I love to listen to personally. So, and yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know that much about like old school hip hop, but of course you probably do.
Yeah.
Like I've heard like a bunch of like probably like like big names and stuff like that, but to be honest, I probably have barely even listened.
You got Prodigy, Pac, Biggie, Snoop, Rakim, Eric B too. Eric B and Rakim. LL Cool J, Ice-T, Ice Cube, NWA. Oh, now I'm saying them, Raekwon. I couldn't think of them before. I don't know. Like, now that I'm calm and like I'm relaxed, now I'm like, all right, we got this interview going. All the old school people come to my head.
Oh, that's okay. At least I know probably like at least half of those names, so that makes me proud.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Yeah, you know some stuff. You got Q-Tip. And you got a lot of people. There's so many old school people. It's crazy. Brand Nubian.
So actually, speaking of like other style, certain styles of music. So besides hip hop, so are there like other styles of music that you like to listen to?
Yeah, I like some R&B once in a while. I used to love Motown music. It's like the beginning of like you got like the Temptations, the Supremes, the Jackson 5, the Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye. Like, I used to love stuff like that. Like, I thought that was really cool. I like some rock music, don't get me wrong. I like my rock here and there. Like, I like Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith. I mean, yeah, all that stuff is cool. I like women music, don't get me wrong. I like my Adele here and there. Like, me and one of my peoples was just listening to an Adele song in the car. I was like, oh man, this goes in. Like, man, she speaks to your soul. Like, Adele is good. I like stuff like that.
Okay, that's good.
I like a lot of different music.
Okay, well, that's good. And also, speaking of you actually also releasing your music, like one thing I have noticed is that you've been releasing music since when, like 2020, or was it even
2019? I think 2019 was the debut of my first album, Bag, and that was in 2019. I believe it could have been 2020. You might be right. I thought it was 2019, but I could be wrong.
Well, to be honest, like I could be wrong too. So yeah.
No, it was 2019. It was almost 2020. I think it was December of 2019.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. Because I was doing actually a little bit of research on you, so that felt kind of a little bit weird to actually Google you, and then like certain things actually came up. I found out you actually did some live performances actually like in like the city and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask you, like, what has been your favorite place that you actually did a live performance at?
Ooh. I never heard this question. Oh man, I performed everywhere. I performed in the straight up basements of like random spots in Brooklyn and Harlem. And I mean, I don't know. I love doing those because I feel like you have a lot of people down there that are just sitting in the basements in the underground for the same reason you are, that are going to give you the same attention in mind. These people are hungry, but these people are also looking for other people that are hungry to like make greatness with. So I really like doing those. Yeah, but my favorite place to perform at, or the place I performed at that I feel like I had the most success was Blackthorn 51. That was in Queens. And that was like a rock. It's actually like a rock club, but like Power 105 would like rent it out sometimes to do like artist shows, and I would perform there, and I would usually open up. There was one time I was right before Lou got cash. I did my stuff, and then there was another time I did a couple of things like, and I linked up with like EPMD and stuff over there. That was really cool. But that definitely Blackthorn was probably my favorite place because I just felt like every time I got there, like I knew there was like a routine. I knew how it went. I get a couple of drinks. I'd sit down, chill, like communicate with a whole bunch of new people because people would go there for country. You had people from Texas. You had people from Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Utah, Vermont. I mean, just all around the world, like just like certain heads just coming over there. So it was the best place to network.
Well, that's really cool.
And record labels were there to watch too. So that's cool.
That's even better. Yeah. I bet like all those people are like hiding in like the back and they're trying to be like all like secretive and stuff like that because they don't want people to know that they're there or something.
Right, right. Yeah, they would sit on the side. They would just sit there.
Well, that's really cool. And okay, so I think I have questions. Unfortunately, like I actually have a timer like on my so it's gonna tell me that actually that our meeting is almost over.
Okay.
So one thing I actually wanted to ask you was that when like you're not doing music, what do you actually do in your free time?
My free time. So I work a lot. I mean, I'm always working. Like, I mean, obviously, I have a 9 to 5 because music doesn't pay the bills yet. So I definitely work and put a lot of hours in to invest, not only save money for me and my son, but invest in my music. And then, other than that, I'll try to hang out with friends here and there. Just go out, have a good time, try to be as outgoing as I can, and just network while I'm doing that too. I'm always moving. I don't sleep much.
Well, maybe you should. So sleep's always a good thing.
Yeah, somebody was texting me last night, and they were like, "Yeah, you need to get your rest, man." I was talking to them until like 2. They were like, "You need to get your rest so you can think of some more bars to say." I was like, "I probably should." And I went to bed.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. And oh, actually, one question I really wanted to ask you. Since the last time we saw each other in school, a lot of people, say like kind of like about like kind of like, especially working in like music that getting like a college, education is not as important as like it used to be, and that people can learn, certain things at home. So like did any of like the classes that you actually did that actually benefit you or help your career in like any way?
Yeah, most definitely. Learning about multicultural, I like taking the multicultural music class. It kind of taught me to appreciate. It kind of taught me to appreciate the cultures and stuff more, like within the music and like all the different genres there were and people putting into it. I really liked the songwriting class I took. Even though I don't use the methods there as at that much, there is some times where my brain is just kind of like, what do I do? And then I'll go back and do some exercises there just to kind of like calm down and get into writing. Is also production class taught me a lot. The recording, like music production, that taught me a lot, and it definitely made me a better song recorder. I'm not where I want to be with song recording, but that's probably because I need to get into music theory and take music production too. Learn how to like do certain things and kind of make it even better. These aren't horrible, but they could be better with more schools. So school is definitely important, says it's not, especially in that field. One guy, like the guy that mixes my music and masters my music, that guy that's been doing it for me, he has not went to school once, but he has the years of experience of like keeping up to date with music and what was going on. Like this guy, you actually want to talk about something crazy. This guy used to actually have to slice files, like tapes, like he used to have to slice them together, like cut and make certain things to mess with people's vocals and take what he wanted and like make audio and mix music that way. Now that ridiculous. So yeah.
Crazy. Well, lucky for him to have, experience. So it's like multiple opinions about stuff like that.
Right.
it just drives me crazy because, like I went to
Yeah.
school so that I can get a job in music and,
Of course, yeah. I mean, but I feel like right now in days like today, you kind of need it at school for that, especially not only for the education of actually what you're doing, but I feel like you need it for the status, just to say, yeah, like my name is so and so. I've been experienced in music for such and such time. I have a degree. Like, okay, like that's the good first step, and that's always gonna put you on a pedestal compared to everybody else.
true. Sadly, we have to wrap this up. So, Dante, thanks for joining me today, and we will see each other in person. Maybe we can hang out soon.
Of course, I would love to. Just hit me up. I'm always around.
Okay, well, and thanks for all your questions, and I hear your new music.
Yep, November. Well, somebody actually before you go, somebody actually just leaked the state of my album. I wasn't happy with that. I found out on 10th. Right.
That's right, you heard it here first. November 10th is the release date. Once again, thanks for watching and listening, and you'll hear me in the next episode.